The return of my channel coin Lady Brad Garland to 60 Minutes this evening is much appreciated. Lots of you told me before I even started that it would be trendy. It was unexpected. Things like these don't interest me. For the most part, I was unprepared. However, I will reveal its gravest transgression. Simply put, it was dull. Attempting to make it something fresh and sinister, they narrow their attention to elections and the influence of the crypto industry, despite the fact that there is a great tale and enough of material to debate beyond that. In this game, you take part by casting your vote and contributing to politicians and causes that you are familiar with. That is the standard operating procedure for all businesses, including the owner of 60 Minutes. In this case, nothing new occurred. What matters most is that those who voted against the incumbent leadership did so because they believed crypto was vital. The key distinction was that it was the overwhelming number of votes that mattered in the end, even though the money helped spread the word. Beyond that, I still believe it's a net positive because they introduced crypto, Ripple, Brad, and most importantly, XRP, to many households that were previously unaware of these things. Now, they know about XRP, and its price increased by 3,000% in just 1 month. That could be something they give some thought to. Although they might not initiate a Coinbase or breach an account, they might already possess a Robinhood account. In any case, exchange-traded funds will be available in the near future. Additionally, the value of cryptocurrency will continue to rise, and when people see this in the news, they will think, you know what? I became aware of that when I saw that CEO on that program. Therefore, I believe it will provide some benefits. I want to know how many people tuned into 60 Minutes today. Thank you. Considering that they cut down a potentially fascinating 90-minute chat between Brad and the interviewer to this tiny clip, it's clear that the quality of the original material was lacking. Although I am currently unaware of the exact number of individuals that watch 60 Minutes, I do believe that they will attract some viewers, and then those viewers will inform others, leading to the program's widespread exposure. For all this fuss, was Brad's time well spent? I highly doubt it. But I believe we will still benefit from it in some way. I did say this before the argument even began. The SEC is only doing its job, but scammers like FTX are to blame for the current crypto attack. It's completely foolish. This would be the same as claiming that we will target tech giants like Apple, Amazon, and Google due to the collapse of Enron. For example, you shouldn't target honest people because there are dishonest ones who put investors at risk. I don't understand it. But as I mentioned before, in the end, it doesn't matter. To begin with, why are we even meeting to discuss this? The regulatory regime was shown the door once the people spoke and sacked them. Therefore, our opinions on them are moot. They vanished. That's it. That is no longer relevant. That, in my opinion, is the single most critical point to keep in mind. Here is what Daniel had to say regarding the interview. Total disaster, he exclaimed. Someone has to clear their desk on Monday if they thought this would be nice to air. That's an excellent inquiry. Who in Ripple's right mind let 60 Minutes to air this terrible showcase on national television? This is coming from a corporation that takes days to approve even the tiniest community spaces. Even after editing, it seems like they tried too hard to make Brad appear bad, even though he probably did a decent job. I think Brad was great. It's simply the show's tone. Again, it's likely that many people in the audience are unaware of the details. John Reed Stark almost slipped my mind. I like John, and it doesn't bother me if someone is anti-crypto. But here's the rub, reality needs no embellishment. Stop making things up. Something along the lines of, well, no judge has said that these things, they all say these are securities, was his point. According to the judge's ruling in the Ripple case, which he is well aware will be discussed, XRP is not a security. The fact that Ripple can legitimately set it on the secondary market and sell it there is, completely deceitful. It's dishonest to try to paint your side of the argument in a positive light. This further disproves your point. Keep going. There are crypto naysayers. Make your case simply. Plus, he let me down big time. Perhaps he was also cut down in the editing. You have no idea. No worries on my part. Make your case if someone is against crypto, but don't make something up. Based on the 60 Minutes edit, that looked to be the case. Perhaps his interests weren't adequately represented. Here we have one of the most vexing ones, Brad bringing up the idea of new rules. Basically, you're attempting to establish what policy is, she says, so it's not just any regulations. With all the money that Ripple is spending, no one is waiting for bad rules, as I pointed out. They certainly don't intend for the politicians they back to introduce unpopular regulations. But even bad rules and plain bad regulations. Hundreds of millions of dollars in legal bills and court costs would have been the rippling effect. They will adhere to the rules, regardless of how terrible they are. The lack of regulations actually cost us hundreds of millions of dollars and years of lost ground to our competitors. Now they can do whatever they want, which is holding back Ripple and Pledge, and the development of Ledger. For many in this field, that would be an improvement over the current rules, but we certainly do not want terrible rules. Additionally, I found that inquiry to be somewhat bothersome. Again, I agree with Jeremy Hogan that this 60-minute film is fantastic for Ripple and XRP because it exposes them to a lot of people who aren't familiar with this stuff, and as soon as they hear that their value increased by 300% in a month, they will start looking into it. They're going to be curious about its nature. They should definitely check that out. Regarding the cryptocurrency market, you might argue that I am neutral. As a sensible and intelligent representative of the business, Garland House spoke out forcefully on behalf of its members. I gotta say, Brad was just fine. Nothing wrong with that. 60 Minutes cast John Reed Stark, who is excellent in the role, as the show's devil's advocate. Support my channel by giving it a like and subscribing. I'll see you soon.